The West Indies star went from leading his country to losing everything in one devastating year. Jermaine Blackwood was living the dream just 18 months ago. He was vice captain of the West Indies test team, earning a six-figure salary and being talked about as a future captain. Then everything collapsed in spectacular fashion. In 2024, he lost his international spot, his domestic captaincy, and was even dropped from his home team in Jamaica. The shocking story of his downfall reveals the brutal reality of professional cricket and how quickly success can turn into failure. Jermaine Blackwood was born on November 20th, 1991, in Spanish Town, Jamaica. Even as a young boy, he was obsessed with cricket in a way that worried his family. While other kids played video games or watched television, Jermaine spent every free moment practicing his batting technique in the backyard. He would hit tennis balls against the wall for hours, perfecting his timing and footwork. His neighbors thought he was crazy, but Jermaine knew he was preparing for something much bigger than anyone could imagine. His family did not have much money during his childhood. Cricket equipment was expensive and proper coaching was even more costly. But Jermaine's natural talent was so obvious that local coaches began working with him without charging fees. They recognized that his batting technique was special, with a natural flair for aggressive stroke play that could not be taught to other players. By the time he was a teenager, Jermaine was already scoring centuries against adult bowlers in local cricket competitions. The breakthrough that changed his life came when he was selected for the West Indies under-19 team. This was a huge opportunity for a young player from Jamaica, where cricket faced competition from other sports like football and athletics. Being chosen for the regional youth team meant that selectors had identified him as one of the most promising young cricketers in the entire Caribbean. The pressure was enormous, but Jermaine thrived on the expectation and responsibility that came with representing his region. His performances at youth level were spectacular and caught the attention of senior selectors. Jermaine's aggressive batting style was perfect for modern cricket, where teams needed players who could score runs quickly and put pressure on opposition bowlers. His ability to hit boundaries from both defensive and attacking positions made him a nightmare for bowlers to contain. Cricket experts began predicting that he would make his international debut within a few years if he continued developing at his current rate. The call-up to the West Indies senior team came in 2014, when he was just 23 years old. Walking into that dressing room for the first time was intimidating beyond anything he had experienced. These were players he had watched on television, men who had represented the Caribbean on the world stage for years. Some had played against legends, like Sachin Tendulkar and Brian Lara. Jermaine was just a young man from Jamaica who had never played cricket outside the Caribbean region. His test debut against New Zealand was both nerve-wracking and exciting. The pressure of performing at the highest level of cricket was incredible, with thousands of people in the stadium and millions more watching on television around the world. International bowlers were much more skilled and experienced than anything he had faced in domestic cricket. They studied his technique, identified his weaknesses, and developed specific plans to get him out. Jermaine had to learn quickly how to adapt his game to succeed at international level. The early years of his international career were filled with promise and frustration in equal measure. On his good days, Jermaine looked like one of the most talented batsmen in world cricket. His stroke play was beautiful to watch, combining power and timing in ways that reminded cricket fans of the great West Indies batsmen from previous generations. But consistency was a problem that would haunt him throughout his career. For every brilliant innings, there seemed to be 2 or 3 failures that prevented him from establishing himself as a reliable performer. His maiden test century came against England in 2015, a knock that announced his arrival as a serious international player. The innings was played under pressure, with the West Indies struggling in the match and needing someone to take responsibility. Jermaine responded with an aggressive 100 that showcased all his natural talent and fighting spirit. Cricket experts praised his technique and temperament, suggesting that he had the ability to become one of the world's best batsmen if he could maintain that level of performance consistently. However, the pattern that would define his career was already becoming clear. Brilliant performances followed by disappointing failures with no clear explanation for why his form fluctuated so dramatically. Sports psychologists worked with him to understand the mental side of his inconsistency. But the problem persisted throughout his international career. Some cricket analysts suggested that his aggressive style made him more vulnerable to failure, while others blamed external pressures and expectations that were difficult for a young player to handle. Despite these challenges, Jermaine's talent was undeniable, and he continued to be selected for important series and tours. His ability to score runs quickly made him valuable in all formats of cricket, from the longest test matches to the shortest T20 games. The West Indies team was going through a period of rebuilding, with selectors looking for players who could form the core of the team for many years. Jermaine's age, talent, and potential leadership qualities made him an obvious candidate for future captaincy roles. The financial rewards of international cricket were substantial for someone who had grown up without money. Test cricketers from the West Indies earned annual salaries that placed them among the highest-paid athletes in the Caribbean. His central contract with Cricket West Indies, combined with match fees and performance bonuses, provided him with financial security that his family had never experienced. This money allowed him to buy property, support his relatives, and invest in his future beyond cricket. Franchise cricket opportunities also became available as his reputation grew. The Indian Premier League was the most lucrative cricket competition in the world, but even smaller leagues offered substantial payments for talented players. Jermaine's aggressive batting style was perfect for T20 cricket, where entertainment value and boundary hitting ability were highly valued by franchise owners. While he never became a major IPL star, he earned good money playing in various leagues around the world. His rise through the West Indies team hierarchy was steady and seemed inevitable. By 2020, he was being discussed as captaincy material, with cricket officials praising his leadership qualities and understanding of the game. When he was appointed vice captain of the Test team, it felt like the natural progression of a career that was heading toward the very top of West Indies cricket. The role came with additional responsibilities and higher expectations, but also with increased status and financial rewards. As vice captain, Jermaine was expected to mentor younger players and provide tactical input to team management. This role suited his personality and cricket knowledge, as he had always been someone who studied the game carefully and understood the strategic elements of cricket. His teammates respected his experience and ability, while cricket officials saw him as someone who could potentially lead the West Indies team through the next phase of their development. But the pressure of leadership and higher expectations seemed to affect his batting performance. The same inconsistency that had always been part of his game became more pronounced, with failures becoming more frequent and costly. Cricket analysts began questioning whether the additional responsibilities of vice captaincy were impacting his ability to focus on his primary job as a batsman. The mental burden of leadership can be overwhelming for some players, and Jermaine appeared to be struggling with this aspect of his elevated role. The beginning of the end came in 2023, when his batting form completely deserted him. He went 20 innings without scoring a century, a drought that was devastating for someone whose reputation was built on big scores and match-winning performances. Each failure increased the pressure for the next innings, creating a cycle of anxiety and poor performance that became impossible to break. Cricket is a mental game as much as a physical one, and confidence is crucial for success at the highest level. His test average dropped to 26.9 from 11 innings in 2023, with just 2 half-centuries and a highest score of 79. These numbers were completely unacceptable for someone in his position, particularly given the investment the West Indies had made in his development and leadership. Selectors began to question whether he deserved his place in the team purely on current performance, regardless of his potential and past achievements. The psychological impact of this poor form was devastating. Jermaine had built his entire identity around being a successful cricketer, and when that success disappeared, he struggled to cope with the reality of failure. Sports psychologists worked with him to address confidence issues and technical problems, but the combination of mental and physical challenges proved too difficult to overcome quickly. Cricket careers can change direction very rapidly, and momentum is crucial for maintaining performance levels. In 2023, he lost his place in the Test team and also lost his domestic captaincy. These were devastating blows that came within months of each other, completely changing his status within West Indies cricket. From being vice-captain of the national team and a potential future leader, he was suddenly out of both international and domestic leadership roles. The fall from grace was swift and brutal, highlighting how quickly things can change in professional cricket. The domestic situation became even worse when his form continued to struggle in regional cricket. A dismal run in the West Indies Championship saw him score just 88 runs in 9 innings for the Jamaica Scorpions, leading to him losing the captaincy and eventually his spot in the team. This was perhaps the most humiliating aspect of his decline, being dropped from his home team where he had been a star player and leader for years. In April 2024, he was officially dropped from the Jamaica Scorpions squad, completing a fall that seemed impossible just 2 years earlier. The player, who had once been vice-captain of the West Indies, was now not good enough to make his domestic team. The cricket world was shocked by how quickly and completely his career had unraveled, with many people struggling to understand how such a talented player could decline so rapidly. The financial impact of his career collapse was severe. Lost international contracts, missed franchise opportunities, and no domestic cricket income meant his earning potential dropped dramatically. Professional cricketers have relatively short careers, and missing even 1 or 2 years at the peak earning level can have long-term financial consequences. The lifestyle that his cricket success had provided was no longer sustainable without regular income from the sport, but perhaps more damaging than the financial impact was the psychological toll of going from hero to zero in such a short period. Cricket had been his entire life and identity for more than a decade, and when that was taken away, he faced an identity crisis that many former athletes struggle to overcome. The transition from being celebrated and respected to being criticized and forgotten is one of the most difficult challenges any professional athlete can face. However, Jermaine's story is not over, and there are signs that he is working toward a comeback. Reports suggest he has been playing as a professional in UK cricket, initially struggling with conditions, but eventually adjusting and scoring 624 runs in his first season. This represents a positive step toward rebuilding his cricket career and rediscovering the form that once made him one of the most promising players in the Caribbean. The experience of playing in different conditions and environments can sometimes help players rediscover their love for the game and their technical skills. UK cricket is known for being competitive and well-organized, providing an excellent platform for players to rebuild their careers away from the pressures and expectations of international cricket. Many players have used county cricket and league cricket in England as stepping stones back to international recognition. His determination to continue playing cricket despite the setbacks shows the character and resilience that made him a successful player in the first place. Rather than retiring or giving up when things became difficult, he chose to continue fighting for his career and looking for opportunities to prove that he still had something to offer. This attitude is essential for any comeback attempt. As the road back to international cricket is long and difficult, the cricket world loves a redemption story, and there is always room for talented players who show they can overcome adversity and learn from their mistakes. Jermaine's natural ability has not disappeared, and if he can rediscover his mental strength and technical consistency, there is no reason why he cannot return to international cricket. Many players have gone through similar career low points and managed to resurrect their careers through hard work and determination. His experience of failure and struggle may actually make him a better player and leader in the long run. Understanding adversity and knowing how to cope with setbacks are valuable qualities that can help players and teams when facing difficult situations. The lessons learned during his career decline could prove invaluable if he manages to return to the highest level of cricket. The story of Jermaine Blackwood serves as a reminder that professional sport is unpredictable and that success can disappear as quickly as it arrives. His rise from a young player in Jamaica to vice-captain of the West Indies was remarkable, but his subsequent fall shows that talent alone is not enough to guarantee sustained success. Mental strength, consistency, and the ability to handle pressure are just as important as natural ability. For current and future cricketers, his story provides important lessons about the importance of mental health. the need for continuous improvement, and the value of resilience when facing setbacks. Professional sport can be brutal and unforgiving, but it also offers opportunities for redemption and comeback. Stories that inspire others facing similar challenges. The real story of Jermaine Blackwood is not about luxury lifestyles or secret fortunes. It is about talent, success, failure, and the ongoing journey to rediscover the form that once made him one of cricket's most promising players, proving that in sport it is never over until you decide it is over. When life knocks you down,